This next example comes out of section 9.1, exploring rational functions using transformations. This one is a graphing example, so we're asked to sketch y equals 1 over x. First of all, you can graph this on a calculator and you'll get a curve in the first and the third quadrant. Turns out they're actually asymptotes, horizontal at y equals 0 and vertical at x equals 0. And so that's kind of a very basic rational function. Y equals 5 over x is the same thing as 5 times 1 over x. So if you pictured this as a vertical stretch by a factor of 5, you'd be right. The asymptotes don't change. X equals 0 and y equals 0 would continue to be your horizontal and vertical asymptotes, but the graph would be 5 times as high. So for example, if the original graph went through 1, 1, which it does, this graph would go through 1, 5. So other than that, hard to tell the difference between them, in that their asymptotes are the same, but the curve is shaped a little bit differently given that it's been stretched. The next one, very similar. We still would have a vertical stretch by a factor of 3, but we'd also have a reflection in the x-axis. In other words, turn the graph upside down. So not only will this graph look like it's upside down, it'll also be 3 times as tall. Now, asymptotes didn't change with either of those transformations. Y equals 0, x equals 0 continue to be our asymptotes, but the graph definitely does go through, for example, 1, -3 would be a point on that curve. Now, looking at the next one as a transformation, hopefully you agree that taking y equals 1 over x and changing it to x minus 3. So if we take this original graph and move it horizontally to the right 3 units, for the first time our asymptote is going to change. Our vertical asymptote is now going to be at x equals 3. Another way of saying that is that you have a non-permissible value at x equals 3. For all the rest of these graphs up above, we were dividing by x, so x couldn't equal 0. A non-permissible value would have been 0. The curve itself is going to be the same shape and size as the original that we had at the top of the page. This point that was 1, 1 is now 4, 1. Yikes, move it to the right. 4, 1. And you have the new graph. Now this one here, we're going to move vertically up 4 units. So again, a review of transformations. Our vertical asymptote won't change this time, remains at x equals 0, but our horizontal asymptote, 1, 2, 3, 4, is now at y equals 4. And we have ourselves a graph that looks something like that, same shape as the original. Now this point, 1, 1 becomes 1, 5. And you have yourself a set of rational functions that have all been based off transforming the function y equals 1 over x, and we've done the various stretches, reflections, translations to it. Hopefully a review of chapter 1 and multiple other places we've run into that in the course.